Well, I recently tested the Fiat 500C lounge version and I was very impressed with it. Open air Italian alfresco motoring and plenty of flair, all at a fair price. So behind me is the quick version. It's the Abarth version, named for Carl Abarth. He's famous for racing motorcycles, also racing cars and setting many records with those, also modifying Fiats and coming up with great sounding exhausts. Even founded the company SC Targa, which made many classic Italian cars. So, is the car behind me, the Fiat 500 Abarth, worthy of his legacy? Let's find out. In terms of its looks, the Fiat 500 Abarth looks very aggressive for such a small car. My test car reeks of speed with its Arrest Me red paint job, black accents, and larger optional 17-inch alloy black wheels. Abarth is to Fiat what AMG is to Mercedes, and now it's part of the Fiat group. Carl Abarth chose the Scorpio sign, as Scorpio is his astrological sign. The Abarth badge is very prominent on this version of the 500, as are the body modifications. This front vent helps with air intake and cooling the twin intercoolers. The side skirts help to blend the front and rear diffusers. And the large rear spoiler actually does produce downforce. Overall, I'm definitely a fan of this version. It blends new with the old very well, and there's no mistaking that this is the Abarth version. Inside, the Scorpio logo also favors prominently. It's right in the middle of the steering wheel. The bolstered seats are definitely race inspired, and they even carry over that red look from the exterior. The dash layout is definitely similar to the other 500s. The driver's seat gets an armrest. There's the handbrake. You get cup holders and storage down there. There's a modified 5-speed transmission. There's your power windows. The optional automatic climate control. There's the sport button, which actually is active in this car, more on that later. And the radio with optional Sirius satellite. There's the mount for the optional TomTom navigation. You also get a 160 mile-an-hour speedometer, and, of course, the tachometer, basically in the same place there. Steering wheel has controls for your Bluetooth and cruise control. The back seats might be a little cramped, but you do get 2 cup holders, and also these very cool headrests, which make living in the back seat a little more comfortable. The trunk actually offers a little more space than you might expect. And if that's not enough for you, go ahead and fold the back seats down. And there you go. A big improvement in cargo room. The 500 Abarth is powered by a 1.4-liter multi-air turbo 4-cylinder which produces 160 horsepower and 170 pound-feet of torque. But if you don't have the sport button in, you'll only be getting 150 pound-feet of torque. That torque is available from 2,500 to 4,000 RPM and peaks out at 5,500 RPM. That'll scoot you to 60 miles per hour in just 6.6 seconds onto a top speed of 129 miles an hour. The Abarth only comes with a 5-speed manual that has been beefed up from the version in the non-turbo 500. Fuel economy is rated at 28 miles per gallon in the city and 34 on the highway. You can expect 31 overall, and that's actually better than an automatic-equipped, normally aspirated 500, which has an expected average of 29 miles per gallon overall. Listen to that exhaust. Sounds great. Definitely an Abarth. You know, you go to many racetracks around America and you see the vintage cars going, and many of the older Fiats have Abarth modifications and certainly exhausts, and they just sound amazing, and so does this one. So they didn't just modify the exhaust though. They actually went on and they modified the transmission, the suspension, and the engine. They've done everything they can to make this car as fast as they could make it. So it shows. It's a fast car. It handles really, really well, but yet it also gets better gas mileage than the non-turbo automatic 500. So engineers did a great job. Well, the Fiat 500 Abarth actually starts at $22,000. To me, that's a bargain considering the speed you get. You know, you can usually pay about twice that to get a car that's as quick as this one. So I think it's pretty much a bargain. So starting at $22,000, and you want to add perhaps the convenience safety package, which has an alarm, Sirius satellite radio, and of course you might want the larger wheels, you might want the TomTom navigation. Anyway, fully loaded like that, you're out the door at $25,200. So considering the normal non-turbo slow version of the Fiat 500 actually costs from $15,000 to about $18,000, well, I think that for all this speed, it's pretty fair money. In terms of handling, when you're driving the normally aspirated Fiat 500, you press the sport button, well, basically it firms things up a bit. But in the Abarth version here, when you press that sport button, basically you're getting 10 more pound-feet of torque. So it really speeds things up a bit and tightens the handling. You can also leave the traction control totally on, or you can have two more settings. You can turn it a little bit off, or you can turn it all the way off. Now, Drivin Ivan never recommends that you totally cancel traction control in any car unless you absolutely know what you're doing. But if you do, well, it's nice to be able to do it. Well, it is definitely a rainy night. And I gotta say, I'm surprised how well the Abarth has handled it. It just buzzes right through, and some water that other cars would probably hydroplane in, this one just stays true. And that's due to the front wheel drive and the traction control. The night look is a bit orange, but hey, handles the rain very well. Well, there's certainly a lot of competition out there from the likes of the Chevy Sonic Turbo, and of course, the Mini Cooper, the Mazda 2, and even the Volkswagen GTI. But this one has a lot going for it. Number one, it's Italian, and so is Ferrari, and so is Maserati, also owned by the Fiat Group. And on top of that, it's the new kid on the block. You know, we haven't had a fast Fiat in America for who knows how long. And this one also has the exclusivity of the Abarth name. Very cool. So summing up the experience of the Abarth version of the 500, well, you get that great exhaust sound, but it all comes wrapped in basically the same package as the regular 500. So you can get all that luxury, 4 seats, lots of cargo space when you fold down the rear seats, great parking ability, but you're getting it in just a beast of a car. I mean, this thing is fast, it's loud, it snarls, it's like a Scorpion, in fact. And speaking of that Scorpion, well, I think Carlo Abarth would be very happy with this car. Of course, it has his logo all over the place. That's great. But it backs it up with great handling, great speed, and great performance. So I think it carries on his legacy very, very well. I'm Drivin Ivan Katz.